Hey guys, and welcome back to Naming Things, the show where I make a list of things from multimedia and name them. Well, it could be a list of anything I name. I'm choosing to name as many franchises with sequels and prequels as I can here. Now, if any of them are adaptations of a book or whatever, I will make sure to point those out. And not everything is going to be named here. So, with that in mind, let's get to it, shall we? And we're going to start with we're going to start with a few fantasy franchises. So, A Song of Ice and Fire, the series of novels and short stories written by George R.R. Martin, was adapted into the TV series Game of Thrones. Only for the first 4 seasons, mind. It went off in its own direction from season 5 onwards. Okay. Now, a series of short stories he wrote in a nicely compiled book detail the backstory of the continent and its characters. And it's from this book that we get the stories that form the basis of the prequels. That's right, of the prequel spin-off series, House of the Dragon, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and the 2 upcoming prequel series, The Golden Empire and Aegon the Conqueror. Okay, now, next up we have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Now, currently, there are 5 books in the series, those being The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, and the 2 prequel novels, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and Sunrise on the Reaping. Now, here's the kicker. 4 of these books have already been adapted into 5 films. The original 3 novels were adapted into the first 4 films in the series, and A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was adapted into the franchise's, well, chronologically first, but overall 5th film. Then we have the Middle-earth saga, which is made up first of the 1937 book, that's by J.R.R. Tolkien, the 1937 book The Hobbit, and then the 1950s masterpiece Lord of the Rings, which serves as a literary sequel to The Hobbit, published between 1954 and 1956. Then also in the literary world, we have a prequel book, The Silmarillion. And then we have the Unfinished Tales, which could be set at any point in time on Middle-earth. So, but in the film and TV world now, we have the Lord of the Rings trilogy, released between 2001 and 2003. That'd be Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and Return of the King. And then between 2012 and 2014, we had The Hobbit being turned into a trilogy of prequel films. An Unexpected Journey, The Desolation of Smaug, and Battle of the Five Armies. No adaptation for the Silmarillion. That's it. Or all the unfinished tales. But in the TV world, we do have Ring of Power. The less said about that, the better. But it's a prequel to Lord of the Rings. So, that's why I put it there. Okay. Harry Potter. Now, of course, J.K. Rowling wrote these. This is the 7 main books. That's the original series. Now, in the form of a stage play, the sequel, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, is built off the epilogue from the main series, but then retcons everything from the first task of the Goblet of Fire onwards. Why? Okay. And then in the film world, we have the spin-off prequel trilogy, Fantastic Beasts, which actually in the second film became the Albus Dumbledore story. Okay. Okay, so now we just broaden it out a bit, shall we? Because now I would like to take you into the world of the Purge, a horror universe. Now, of course, there are actually 5 films and a TV show in this universe, or in this franchise. It started out with The Purge in 2013. Then following that in 2014, we got the sequel, The Purge Anarchy. And then, in between that, we have the Purge TV series. That's 2 seasons set in between the second and third films. So I'm slotting it in between there because that's canonically where it goes. So, and then we have the Purge election year from 2016. And then we get to the 4th installment in the series, which is a prequel called The First Purge. Which is not actually about the first official purge. It's about the experimental purge. Okay. I mean, and then that was followed by the 5th film, The Forever Purge. Now, into the Omen franchise. Now, this is where this is going to get interesting, because in 1976, we have The Omen. That was followed in 1978 by the sequel, Damien Omen 2, which was followed in 1981 by another sequel, The Final Conflict, or Omen, The Final Conflict. We're not counting made-for-TV sequels. That doesn't count. So we now jump ahead to 2024? No, 2025. When they released a prequel, The First Omen. Which is about Damien's mum, as it happens. And it's the second instance of a prequel in a film series to have the franchise title there with the words "the first" stuck in front of it. Okay. Okay. Let's go into the world of Stephen King now, shall we? And just to mention, we have The Shining, which has a sequel, Doctor Sleep. As well as the modern theatrical movies It and It Chapter 2 having a prequel TV series in the form of It, Welcome to Derry. Then there's Castle Rock, which serves as a prequel of sorts to all of Stephen King's works. Oh dear. Now, let's move on from that to the TV series, the British TV series Last of the Summer Wine, longest running sitcom on British television, that had a short-lived prequel series, First of the Summer Wine. I'm not making that up. Go and search it if you don't believe me. Now, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Star Wars. Now, there's the original film from 1977, which was followed by a sequel in 1980, The Empire Strikes Back, and another one in 1983, Return of the Jedi. After that, there was a 16-year gap of nothing. Okay. Until 1999, when we got the first prequel, The Phantom Menace. Ugh. What did they do to Star Wars? Okay. That was followed in 2002 by Attack of the Clones, and again in 2005 by Revenge of the Sith. Now, in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, we got the Clone Wars, which was brought to animated life first in the form of a 2D cartoon, a 2-season TV series. And then it became a CGI TV series that lasted for 7 seasons. How do you stretch 3 years worth of Star Wars timeline into 7 seasons of a TV show? Come on, TV execs. What's your secret? And then from that, we also got, well, the film that the show was spun off from, also called Clone Wars, but also a whole new bunch of live action projects, including, but not limited to, Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is set in the 19-year gap between the end of Revenge of the Sith and the beginning of A New Hope. Set 10 years after it, as a matter of fact. And also in that gap, sort of, we have the TV series Andor and the Book of Boba Fett. Now, canonically, after Return of the Jedi now... Oh no, we also have the animated TV series... I can't believe I almost forgot this. The animated TV series Rebels, which is set also in that 19-year gap. It's set 14 years after Revenge of the Sith. Okay. Back to the live action stuff now. In the form of films now, canonically. Both set before A New Hope, we have the films Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and Solo, a Star Wars story. And now after Return of the Jedi, we also got the TV series The Mandalorian, which is set 5 years after Return of the Jedi. In the 30-year gap between that and the sequel trilogy, 2015's The Force Awakens, 2017's The Last Jedi, and 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. What did they do to Star Wars, man? Honestly. Oh, dear. Now, in the world of comic books, Alan Moore's Watchmen had a sequel in the form of a written work, The Clock of Doom, or the Doomsday Clock. But then the actual film had a mini-series sequel, also called Watchmen. That was an adaptation of a comic book, by the way. Now, we head now into the world of Pixar, where we see Toy Story with 3 sequels. Toy Story 2 from 1999, Toy Story 3 from 2010, and Toy Story 4 from 2019. With the upcoming Toy Story 5 coming out this year, being added to it. But then we also have a sort of prequel spin-off in Lightyear, which, well, it's not actually a prequel spin-off. I don't know why I said that. It's actually just the film Andy's watching in the cinema that led him to wanting a Buzz Lightyear action figure. Okay. Now, the TV series One Tree Hill is getting a Netflix sequel series this year. Well, don't know when. I don't know why I said this year, but it's coming. Okay. Now, back into the world of Pixar, we also have some other films that have sequels. And prequels, because we have Monsters University, which is a prequel to Monsters Inc. And then we have Cars 2 and Cars 3, which are sequels to Cars. Inside Out 2, Incredibles 2, and Finding Dory, which is a sequel to Finding Nemo. The other ones I've just listed, you know what those are sequels to, right? Okay. I can ramble on about this forever, but I don't think I should. Right, Friday the 13th. Now that's just a string of sequels to a film. I'm not counting crossovers or remakes here. So Freddy vs. Jason does not count on this list. Sorry, but not sorry. Because it is neither a sequel nor a prequel. But there is a prequel TV series coming. Crystal Lake. Scream! Okay, now that's just a film followed by 6 sequels. 5 sequels. I don't know why I say 6. Well, I do, because there's Scream 7 on the way, but still. Now, a likewise situation here for Nightmare on Elm Street. That's just a film followed by 6 sequels. And there is a remake, just like there is for Friday the 13th, but we don't count remakes on this list. So, and again with Freddy vs. Jason, neither sequel nor prequel crossover doesn't count on list. Okay. And there is no modern TV series coming for that. Okay. Halloween. Now that's just a film from 1978, followed by multiple sequels between 1981 and 2001. And then a series of legacy sequels between 2018 and 2022. So, yeah. And apparently there's a prequel series about Dr. Loomis coming up. Loomis. Blade Runner. Right. Now, that's a film, obviously, from 1982, that has a sequel. Blade Runner 2049. Yes, and that's a film. There are also some mini films that take place in that universe that are set in the years in between the first and second films. But there's also a TV series coming, Blade Runner 2099. Yeah, I know. Okay. Now, Puppet Master. That's a film followed by many different sequels, but there is a prequel in there, or there are prequels in there somewhere. I'm not going to list them all because there's just too many of them to name. The Conjuring. The main series of films is a 4-film series. The Conjuring from 2013. The Conjuring 2, The Enfield Case from 2016. Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It from 2021. And Conjuring Last Rites from 2025. As for sequels and prequels to the series, they come in the form of the spin-offs that they made that make up this universe. So, we have Annabelle, which serves as a direct prequel set literally just before the first Conjuring film starts. Then we have Annabelle Creation, which pushes it even further back in time to the 1950s. 1955 to be exact. Giving us also the setting of 1967 at the end for Annabelle. Then Annabelle Comes Home is actually a midquel, a sequel. It's a sequel set after the first Conjuring film. But in between that and the second. That's why I said a midquel. Okay. Then we have the two Nun films, which both take place in the 1950s, 1952 and 56, respectively. Why am I leaving The Curse of La Llorona off the list? Well, even though it's made by the same director, James Wan, it's not officially counted as part of that universe. Or maybe it is now, I don't know, but you know. But for completion's sake of that universe, that's set in 1973. So, okay, TV series. Okay, now again, we have The Big Bang Theory, which has a prequel series in Young Sheldon. But there's apparently an upcoming sequel series. I don't know why they need to keep expanding the universe. um, Open All Hours has a sequel series in the form of Still Open All Hours. And Only Fools and Horses. Now, that is a different beast entirely. There's a prequel miniseries, Rockin' Chips. And then a sequel TV series, The Green Green Grass. Jesus. For Dragon Ball, the sequel series are Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Daima. It's unclear where on the timeline that actually takes place, but I think it's in the 10 Years of Peace. And the B-Team sequel, and I don't know why I'm putting it in, Dragon Ball GT. The prequels include the manga series, Jacko the Galactic Patrolman and Dragon Ball Minus, and the TV special Bardock, the Father of Goku. And there's a further forward set sequel as well in Dragon Ball GT. I'm not counting this after this, A Hero's Legacy. Now, Rugrats. Well, there's a sequel spin-off, All Grown Up. which despite its name is actually about the Rugrats characters 10 years in the future. Not when they're all grown up, because that would imply a 20 or 30 year time jump. Okay. And then there was Preschool Days, which is about Angelica and Susie going off to preschool. And Tales from the Crib, which is an anthology miniseries. But I don't think it's either a prequel or a sequel, so I don't know what I'm putting it in here for. And same with Preschool Days. Not a prequel or a sequel, so I don't know why I've included it. Okay. Okay, now guys, I think I've talked about this long enough, so I'm going to leave it here. If I've missed anything off, let me know in the comments below. But I did say at the beginning that not everything was going to be covered. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a magical time.